Do you ever wish you had seen the late, great David Bowie in concert? Well, now you can. You can get tickets for the Ziggy, Stardust and the Spiders from Mars, the motion picture. Real things.
I thought I'd come back. It's a newly restored version of his final gig as his legendary character. This is the Hammersmith Apollo 50 years ago. We're both far too young to remember that, but let's have a quick look.
What an icon. Well, we were joined earlier by two members of his band who performed with him that very night, and we started by asking them what that was like.
We'd just done a major tour. These were the last two. We had Jeff Beck coming on to play with us for 2 tracks, so it was a real high point. And I remember everybody being on form. We were hot. You know, we were really cooking.
Yeah.
And
everything was going well.
Yeah, Bowie was incredible. Not that he wasn't always, but I noticed that night and the next night, particularly, he was on form, pulling things out. The audience were amazing, a lot of noise, and then he announced that that was the last show, and it was like, and I didn't know that.
Should we remind ourselves of that moment?
Not really, but yeah, go on.
Of all the shows on this tour, this particular show will remain with us the longest because not only is it the last show of the tour, but it's the last show that we'll ever do. Thank you.
You heard the screams from the audience there.
Yeah.
Were you screaming as well, but for different reasons?
With no Kleenex tissue. Other brands are available, but it was Kleenex.
Jeff, what was it like to, when you watch that film back now, does it remind you of that special time which you all got to spend with somebody who was creating so much?
It does. It's hard to disassociate myself from my old pal from 8 years of age, who I knew all my life. And then I went on to do other stuff with him. I can't really... He's David Bowie and my mate was David Jones, but he was the kind of guy that said, he told you what to do rather than asked you. He expected you to be able to do stuff. And that was really encouraging, wasn't it? Through later on in life, you got on with stuff because David said you could. It was really... Yeah, it was really good on that level.
I mean, in the studio recording of that, all those albums, in fact, one track on 4 or 5 albums, he told me what to play. But all the rest, he never said a word about. He just expected that you could pull it off just like that. And sometimes it was a bit,
When David first turned up with the makeup and the hair and then said, you guys have to also do the makeup thing.
Go on.
you were a little bit reluctant.
We're from Yorkshire. Do you know what I mean? Even the girls in Yorkshire didn't wear makeup at that time.
But you embraced it.
Yeah, we did,
You talked about the fact you've known David Bowie virtually your whole life.
Yeah.
What was he like as an 8-year-old?
He was thoughtful and he was always into something, reading something.
And did either of you, Woody, Jeff, you probably did, but Woody, did you stay in touch with David?
I had a few years gap and then I was doing session work as a drummer in Paris and he was doing the Low album and Tony Visconti, who I knew, was producing that album, and I'd phoned Tony up, and then he phoned me back and said, David says, why don't you come down and hang out? We're doing an album, hang out with us, And I was like, whoa, I hadn't seen him since this night, right? So I was a little bit, not quite sure, do you know what I mean? You just sat me in front of 2,000 people, and then we made a film of your sacking. I mean, I always thought big as a kid, but I didn't want to be that big that I got sacked globally. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So I'd seen him and we kind of mended all the whatevers. There was good times, bad times, and we just talked through it all. It was good.
Gents, thank you so much for coming in today. We get some pretty cool people on this programme, but you two are definitely the coolest this week.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing your memories, really.
Thank you, it's been fun, thank you.
Incredible.
Thank you.